The availability heuristic: why headlines distort your view of the market. Home prices crash 20%. Record-breaking bidding war leaves buyers stunned. Interest rates hit a 30-year high. If those headlines made you feel something like panic, fear, or maybe FOMO, you're not alone. But here is the catch: the real danger isn't in the market, it's in how your brain processes stories like this. Welcome to the availability heuristic, where fear sells and smart decisions die. Hey, I'm Hemin, a real estate educator and someone who's obsessed with how psychology and media influences the choice we make, especially in high-stakes market like real estate. If you've ever delayed buying because of a scary headline or rushed into a deal after hearing your friend made $150K flipping a condo, you've been under the influence of what behavioral economists call the availability heuristic. This concept, coined by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, the same Nobel-winning researchers behind System 1 and System 2 thinking, explains how we judge the likelihood or truth of something based on how easily it can come to our mind. In other words, if it's vivid, emotional, or on the news, it feels true, even when it's not the full picture. In this video, I'll show you how the availability heuristic hijacks your view of the real estate market and how to overcome it with clear, rational thinking. We'll break this down into three core parts: how fear-based media manipulates your market perception, why anecdotes feels like data but aren't, and a better way to filter information and make sound decisions. Let's get into it. Number one, how fear-based media manipulates your market perception. Let's start with this. Media doesn't sell fact, it sells attention. And what gets attention? Fear, drama, extremes, outliers. So when you read a headline like Toronto home sells for $500,000 over asking, or buyers flee Vancouver, worst market since 2008, your brain lights up. You feel like something major is happening. But here is what's actually happening. You're forming a belief based not on real data, but on the availability of dramatic information in your memory. This is the availability heuristic in action. It creates a false sense of frequency and relevance. For example, you hear about the buyer who lost out on 5 homes in bidding wars. You start thinking, I'll never be able to afford anything. But the truth, that might be the one story in one hyper-competitive micro market, while other areas are seeing prices reductions and longer days on market. But your brain doesn't average across the markets. It grabs the loudest story and turns it into a rule. As a result, you delay smart decisions or rush into bad ones based on noise, not analysis. Number two, why anecdotes feel like data but aren't. Next is a subtle trap, like personal stories. Your friend just sold their places for $120K profit. Your cousin in Calgary says, now's the worst time to buy. Your coworker warns you, interest rates are going up, get in before it's too late. These stories feel persuasive because they're personal and specific, but they're still anecdotes, not data. The Nobel Prize winner economist Daniel Kahneman warned that humans are narrative-driven, not number-driven. We latch onto vivid stories and build worldviews around them, even if they're unrepresentative or statistically meaningless. For example, you talk to someone who lost $100,000 investing in a pre-construction project that collapsed. Your brain goes, pre-construction is dangerous, I should avoid it. But the truth, that's one case. What about the dozens of others who timed it well, understood the builder, and profited? Or the reverse? You see someone make a killing flipping a condo during COVID and think real estate is always a sure thing. Both conclusions are wrong because they're based on availability, not objectivity. 3. A better way to filter information and make sound decisions. So how do you outsmart the availability heuristic in real estate? Here's a 3-part filter you can start using today. A. Separate headlines from trends. Ask yourself, is this article describing a one-off event or a sustained trend? Is this based on broad market data or one specific transaction? Don't let a loud story erase silent patterns. Use tools like MLS benchmark reports, real estate board's monthly stats, and local housing affordability indexes. That's where the truth lives, not in the headlines. B. Pause after emotional stories. Anytime you hear a dramatic success or failure story, ask, what's the full context here? What risk did they take that I might not be willing to? Is this repeatable or just a lucky timing? This activates your system 2 thinking, which Kahneman emphasizes as the only real antidote to cognitive bias. See, zoom out before you zoom in. Availability bias keeps you focused on the moment, the drama, the now. But smart real estate investing requires zooming out. Ask, what are my long-term goals? Does this information change my strategy or just scare me? If I ignore the news, what would my 5-year plan say to do right now? This is how top investors think. They act based on strategy, not sentiment. Here's the brutal truth. You're not just fighting the market, you're fighting your own brain. The availability heuristic is sneaky. It makes scary headlines feel like facts. It makes someone else's story feel like your own reality. But the real pros? They filter the noise. They lean into data. They ask better questions. So next time a headline rattles you or someone brags about their big win or epic loss, stop and ask yourself, is this information helpful or just available? Remember, your financial future depends on your ability to tell the difference. If this video helped you spot the mental traps that distort your real estate decision, hit that like button. It really helps others find this content. And if you want more insights into the psychology behind smart investing and real estate strategy, make sure to subscribe. And finally, I'd be really happy to see you drop a comment below. What's the last real estate heading or story that shook your confidence? Let's unpack it together and bring it back to the reality. I'm Hemin, thanks for watching. Stay rational, stay strategic, and don't let fear headlines your future.